Hey guys, Traveling Taylor back here with you, and this week I really wanted to share with you something I'm super excited about and I've been telling all my people in my circle about, which is my new health insurance called Sidecar Health. So I know that just like a couple of weeks ago, I did a video on Safety Wing, which is my digital nomad, like travel medical insurance. But since I have been here in the US, and I'll probably be here for at least another 6 months, I really needed something to have me covered while I'm home. Because since I left my corporate job 2 years ago, I haven't been covered with insurance in the US, and that's a little stressful. It gives me a little bit of anxiety, and I also just needed to go do some checkups. I just needed to go do my preventative wellness checkups, and I was afraid about how much it was going to cost. So, as it does, the internet gave me an ad for this new insurance called Sidecar Health, and so I've used it for the last month, and I've used it in practice, and I love it so far, and so I wanted to share it with you all. So what Sidecar Health is, it's a self-pay insurance. So it's a little different from most US insurances where you have to submit a claim, and then they figure out how much they're paying for it, and yada, yada, yada. It gets very confusing. This is so simple. It's upfront. It's very transparent. You go in as a self-pay patient. So you don't have insurance necessarily, but they do help cover the cost. Right, so self-pay. So this is something I had never even really heard about, like I never really understood, but there's actually been quite a bit of research, and there's been articles published by the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Time, CNBC, LA Times, Consumer Reports, all these big publications about the actual cost of healthcare and health insurance, and how it's actually cheaper to go in as a self-pay patient. So because they don't have to go through the insurance companies and they're not getting upcharged for these services, you're actually just paying the actual cost of what these things are. So when you jump onto the Sidecar Health website, which I will put a link below, you can see that right off the bat, you're able to customize your own plan, which is kind of unheard of when it comes to typical health insurance plans, but you get to pick your annual coverage amount, if you want a deductible or not, how much it would be, and then if you want prescriptions covered. So when I was actually making my plan, I chose not to have prescriptions covered because I literally cannot remember the last time I had to go get a prescription. And if I had to go get one, I'm okay with just paying out of pocket for that because I don't think it would be something that I would need very often. So I was able to customize and make my own plan, get it at a price point that was affordable for me. So during open enrollment in December, I had been looking at different options under ACA, and honestly just was not finding something that was in my price range that didn't have like a super high deductible, in which case I was like, what's the point of even having this? So when I found this, I was super excited. I did a lot of research. I constantly contacted them with all of my questions, and I really felt really good about it. And since going with them, I've been really happy with the service and the benefits that I'm getting. So another reason that it's different and really great at the same time is that there are no networks. So because you're a self-pay patient, there's no in-network, out-of-network. You don't have to worry about if your visit is going to be covered by insurance. You're a self-pay patient, so it's all covered. Once you sign up and you're approved, they just give you a debit card, and that's how you pay for your visit. So you are not paying out of pocket. You're still paying your monthly fee to Sidecar, and then you have your annual coverage amount, and that's what it gets pulled out of. And so that's all just on your debit card. So it's really easy. It's super simple. It's personalized. And then after your visit, you just need to upload an itemized bill. So you just have to make sure you get one from the doctor's office, and then they go through and verify everything and figure it out. And seriously, there's so many things I love about it. But another thing that I really loved about it was on their website, they have an entire catalog of different types of services. And so you can go through and say you want to go to, get a physical, right? So something super basic. And it'll say, this is how much it should cost. This is how much Sidecar will pay for it. So they just have a base amount, set amount that they pay for every single thing. So they've gone through it all. They know exactly how much they'll cover, and they tell you, this is exactly how much we will cover. So then it's your job to actually research different doctors or clinics in the area and find the one whose cost is most similar. Now, if your visit costs more than what Sidecar will pay, then you just pay the difference and they just charge your card or whatever you have on file with them. However, if it's less than if your visit ended up being less than what they pay, then you get to keep the difference, which, I mean, no one has a model like that. So for example, I did go to the doctor and my itemized bill came out to, before the self-pay deductions, came out to $537. And then they deducted it because I was a self-pay patient, and the total was $237. So you can already see that being a self-pay patient is actually less expensive. And then Sidecar, because of they added up the different services I got, and they actually were set to cover, I think, $300. And so because my bill was only $237 and they were going to cover $300, I got that difference. Actually, they credited it back to my account. So I had the option to credit it or I think get a check in the mail. And I just decided, just credit it. And so for next month, my monthly bill was just a little bit cheaper. So, I mean, it really is I've used it. I've gone through the process. It was so easy and they're true to their word. I found a doctor's office that was going to charge me less than what they would cover, and I got the difference. And so far, that has been the case. So just a couple more reasons that I was immediately sold on Sidecar, and the more research I did, the more I loved it, was their customer support. So I contacted their chat service at least 3 or 4 different times with different questions that I had. Some of them general, some of them more personal, and everyone was just super friendly, really knowledgeable, and really helpful. I also contacted them after my first doctor's visit. I noticed that my bill had been processing for a week, and I just kind of wanted to check on it and be like, hey, how long does this normally take? I really didn't know. And they're like, oh, it normally only takes a couple of days. And so the chat support, actually, the person who jumped on was my bill specialist. It was actually the person who was trying to reconcile all of that. And she was like, oh, I've been trying to contact the doctor's office. I just needed this one piece of information. And so we kind of chatted and I helped her as much as I could. She still had to contact them. But just being able to talk to the actual person who was working on my case just made me feel really good. And she was totally open. I was like, I can send you what I have. She was like, yeah, go for it. That's great. Whatever. And really within the next day, she kind of had it all sorted out. So it was really great. They also, I was really surprised by I filled out the online paperwork to join, and then I got a handwritten welcome note in the mail. And everyone on I guess maybe the support team or the onboarding team had signed it with their names, in their signatures. Again, this is just not the type of service that you're used to getting, especially in the healthcare medical field. And so they really just keep going above and beyond from what I can see. And then the last thing that sold me on it was I can actually use my debit card overseas. So while I am traveling, theoretically, I can still pay for things overseas because it covers me as a person and there's not a network. Now, I will still probably have my safety wing insurance once I'm overseas just because it provides different benefits, especially as far as travel and emergency situations and travel insurance. But knowing that I can keep my Sidecar insurance and have that sort of a backup or a way to pay if safety wing won't cover something overseas, that, I mean, I was immediately was I was already about to do it. And then I was like, okay, great, sign me up, done. So I just really feel for freelancers based in the US, it's a really great option. And then if you are sort of based in the US half the year and travel part of the time, it's still going to benefit you and you can still find a way that is going to match your budget, which is just really great. Now, there are a couple of downsides to Sidecar, and one of them is that it is a fairly new company. They only cover certain states, and they're mostly the southern US states right now. So Texas, Florida, Georgia, Alabama. They are expanding and they are, covering more states as they can. But just keep that in mind that Depending on when you watch this video, they might have expanded beyond that, but right now I think it's limited to about 10 states. And then the other thing is that, again, I think it's partly because they are new and they're not trying to do too much too soon, but they don't cover everything. So they don't cover pregnancy or childbirth or some other maybe medical situations like that. So you definitely want to check out their like most up-to-date list of exclusions and see how that would affect your current situation. But if you're like me and you're generally healthy and you don't really go to the doctor a whole lot, you just kind of have these checkups, it really is one of the most affordable options that I have seen. So as you can see, I have a lot to say about it. I really do enjoy it so far. I can't say I've ever like been excited or enjoyed a health insurance, but they really have just gone above and beyond, and I've been really impressed with them, and I've been telling everyone about it. So if you need coverage in the US and your home base is here and you're in one of the states that they cover, I definitely recommend checking it out. So thanks for sticking with me, you guys. I am here every Tuesday. Be sure to subscribe to get more digital nomad, online business, and travel related tips, and I will see you next week.